I'm a little bit better today. I'm moving. I feel so much better through here today. I sound a little bit better sometimes. Every once in a while, I sound so wispy and like a smoke. But I've about got it whipped. I think I'm just really weak. And my dad had made a big dinner because my nephew and his fiance are in hunting at the farm. And he brought me a ham plate and dressing. And I'm excited about the dressing because my mama's dressing is the best dressing in the world. I might be biased. So I'm just really weak now, and I'm trying to build my strength back, but my color's better. My muscles are beginning to function. I've got more control over my upper body today. Feeling a lot better. Yesterday was maybe just like the last bad day of all this. Maybe I'm going to be on the up and up now. But the mailman knocked on the door right before Dad got here, so I thought, well, let's just look at what we've got. Because I ordered some little frames, which is what I wanted to see. Okay, and they're like a 10 by 11, or it's an odd size, but it's big enough that you can put a lot of canvases in and paint. And they've got a little ledge on them, so they come. It's like they've got a built-in frame. I got these on a spin down where you they give you like 90% something off of something, but you don't know. Well, you don't know how much percentage it is until you say what you want to buy, and then you push the button and it tells you. I got like 90% off of these. So I got more. They're in another bag, but I got 3 big ones, and they're just kind of like my smaller ones, just bigger because David's working like 7 days a week right now, so I don't ask him to do nothing. Yeah, Gypsy, I feel so much better today. Yesterday was like, I'm hoping that was my last like horrible day, because maybe that was just my punishment to get through this. Yesterday was a bad day. Oh, and I got like little cute things like this to go in it. So it's like this is it says I choose you, and it's like a husband and wife. It's got 2 wolves howling at each other. And so they'll go in there and mat, and I can do a little decorative border, and they'll fit in these really nice after I trim them down and Mod Podge them in there. So I thought that would be cute. I can do some little ribbon on the places, and then do an accent color around the edge, and maybe put a wooden bead hanger on it or something. But I wanted to do some stuff that I didn't have to ask David to do a bunch of woodworking, because he's working so much right now. And he's still kind of, I mean, he's over all this more than I am, but he's still, I know, not up to full steam. So I'm trying to not put anything more on his plate than I have to. And so anything that I'm wanting to craft or do, I'm kind of making sure I can do it on my own without bugging him. I do have one really pretty wolf and one really pretty elk print that he is going to have to cut the wood for. But he knows that, so I'm not going to ask him to do anymore. This is what I was so excited about, because y'all know my little reindeers I made last year and how expensive those little laser cut antlers were. And I mean, they were okay. I wasn't super stoked about them because they were wood, but they were cute. But then I found these, and I got like 30 pair for what I paid for 2 of the wooden ones. Look at these, and they match. They're like little elk antlers or red stag. I love it. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 5 by 5. I think these are cute. These are going to be even cuter when I put them on my smaller little reindeer gnomes I'm going to make this year, and some of the smaller stuff I'm going to do. I literally, y'all, I got this whole bag for what 2 sets of the wooden laser cut cost me last year. Sometimes I feel stupid when I find stuff on TEMU that are so good and so cheap. And I realize what I paid for it last year when I was crafting, and I'm like, I'm stupid. So that was definitely a good buy. It's probably something I will buy more of since I've now put my hands on them. I like them. I've been waiting on this package forever. It took forever to get here. I mean, forever. It's got a lot of stuff in it that I've been, well, my frames, basically. I've been waiting for my frames. I did buy me a couple of shirts the other day because I'm now at 40 pounds lost. So the nurses that came by this morning to check on me and double check my lungs and stuff made me weigh. And I should have weighed yesterday, but I just did not feel like it yesterday. And so I got on and weighed. And doggone it, if I am not 40 pounds gone now. And I'm like, where's it coming from? But I see myself every day, so I don't guess it makes a big impact to me. Now, this is something I bought for me and Mom, completely sentimental. They weren't very expensive, but they're a little choo-choo train. I don't know if it has a... Oh, it's got a protector strip. It's a little choo-choo train, but it's got a Christmas scene in it, and it's got a light. Y'all know how I like my little lights, but look at this. This has got deer and a tree, cardinals, snow, and it's inside a little locomotive, a little steam engine locomotive. And if any of y'all know, I think this was $2.98. It was very affordable, and it's sentimental. It's a plastic, but it's a sturdy, heavy-duty plastic, so it looks like metal. If many of you know, my papa was an engineer on the railroad, and had I known this, I would have sent this back with Dad too, because I just sent Mama her hummingbird suncatcher, but I got Mama one too. So I got us each one, and it's just a little nod to Papa, and I like to remember him. I like to think about him. I've got Granny's quilt that she had for like the last decade of her life, and I've got an old railroad painting of Papa's that Mama's going to give me. And I make my bed every day, and I put Granny's quilt on my bed, and I think of her in the morning when I make my bed, and I think of her in the evening when I unmake it to go back to bed. So I think about her every day. And I like little stuff that makes you remember people. I don't necessarily need super elaborate stuff. Okay, so these are frames, and this is more of a shadow box, and I wanted to see the difference. The difference is this one's just got a little bit more depth to it and can maybe have a more elaborate photo or canvas in it and a little bit more fun stuff around the edges, just a little bit more crafty. I like this one. I may go back and shop at this store again because this is sturdy. These are sturdy too now, but this is really sturdy. So I may go back and buy some more of these because these are really sturdy for the price. And I think they were around like $1.50 or $1.70. And I mean, for a shadow box, that's pretty doggone good. So basically that's all I got. I did, though, in one low package the other day, get in my Bigfoot ornaments. And that was just a impulse buy. But they've got several different kinds of him. That bag was open. This one's closed. And this one is wrapped up in the lights. They're only printed on one side, but you can like do funny scenes and add them to stuff. And I plan on painting an ornament with Bigfoot on it. And it's going to say "Squatching through the snow." Here he is packing a wreath. I just thought these were really cute, and I knew that I would want a few, and then I could probably lock them up, and other people might want them as well. So I got a few to justify putting a few on my tree and selling. But the big great part of this one was there are like 25 or 30 sets of these antlers in here, and they're so much nicer. They look like little tiny antlers. They're so much nicer than the laser engraved wood ones, and all of these cost less than 2 of the laser engraved pairs that I bought last year. I feel stupid now. So I've got stuff in. I've got my frames in. As soon as I feel better, I'm going to clear off I've just piled everything right here. I'm going to clear off my paint spot, and I'm going to do some antiquing and framing some of my smaller canvases. And then David said Sunday before he goes to work, he may cut some of the larger ones I need, so that I can work on those at the beginning of the week. I need easy things that I can do that are minimal task that goes in spurts, so I can paint and come back and do another layer. And if I don't feel good, it doesn't matter how long that layer dries before I do the third layer. Then I can rest. Then I can come back and decorate. Then I can come back and shellac. And so I can do it in steps in case I get really tired and weak again. So that's what I'm going to start with is my step ones because I have got to get my energy built back. But I have been up all day today because I had nurses and everybody in and out, and I did make David pulled beef barbecue sandwiches for dinner and lunch, and I slow cook that all night. I love crock pots. When you're sick, crock pots are awesome things. But I am getting better. The flare seems to be almost gone. Like this is the best day I've had in I don't know how many days. A lot of the swelling that I had yesterday is gone. I told you when it decided to leave, it just poof, it's gone. RSD is so freaking weird. And look at my jawline's fine now. It's so weird because it just attacks and you don't know how long it's going to stay, and then it leaves and you don't know when it's going to come back. And it's just, I live every day like, oh God, please don't show up. Let me have a good day. And I'm keeping this thing on a lot because I am so weak. And my blood pressure, since all the fluid came off me, my blood pressure went whoo. So I've had to lick salt already a few times today. I feel like a heifer at a salt block. But that's, it's just, better than have to take a blood pressure pill to bring it down, though, I guess. But the fluid is coming off, so I feel better. I'm just extremely tired, so I'm fixing to take a power nap. And then I've been slowly editing photos this morning. It's a slow process because editing on that software is tedious. And I have to put my glasses on, and that's kind of messing with me a little bit today, too. But I have to say, the antlers were the best buy for crafting, and antlers and frames. But this is my favorite little thing. And it's just sentimental, and it's a silly little buy if you don't have a reason behind it. But my papa was an engineer on the railroad, and this makes me think of him. So, and I love lights. Y'all know how I am about lights. I love ambient lighting, solar lights. I could land a 747 in my yard. For sure could. But we're fixing to get back at it, guys, because I'm starting to perk up. I'm getting there. And I feel much better, much improved, and I'm starting to get my mischievous thought pattern back, which tells me I'm feeling better. So we should be crafting very, very soon. I have taken down my bone garland because I'm going to change it up. I love this thing, though. Look at those vertebrae and those beads hanging down at the end. I'm just going to change up the beading and do shorter garlands so that they can just be laid in other places. You sold 2 prints? Oh, my God. Awesome. I talk you up. Hey, in my nurses today, there were 2 new ones. They stopped and had to look at all your artwork on my wall, and I was telling them about you, and they were like, oh, my God, this is gorgeous. And that one that you painted as the Christmas present for Dave last year, they fawned over that for 10 minutes. So they're like, every time we look, we find something else to giggle at. And I'm like, I know, she's great. So they were all about it today. They were in love with it. They stood and looked at that wall for 10 minutes. So it was a fun morning. I've had company. And now I've got my dinner. I don't have to cook. Dad brought me dinner. And he did tell me what he put on stuff so I wouldn't get any flavor surprises. Because I'm still kind of, but it looks very yummy. And I got Mom's dressing, so as long as I got a chunk of dressing, I'm fine. Dressing some good stuff, man. I got to learn how to make that dressing. I know how to put it together, but I can't make it taste like her, so I'm going to have to learn how to do that. But so I can literally rest, edit photos. I've already got the dinner made, and so this is going to be a great rest day for me. And I feel like I've accomplished quite a bit since I've been up. I've folded some laundry, put some laundry up. I even vacuumed a little bit. And so I feel like the land of the living is coming back to me. Oh, really? Well, you did a good job. They were in love with it. They thought, and they were like me, you're used to color and you're blending, and it's ethereal. It's just beautiful. They were really mesmerized. And I showed them your other work that you'd done for the state of Kentucky, and they were just like, wow. And I was like, I know, right? So yeah, if you've got more you might want to sell, I might have some customers for you, because they were really smitten with your work today. And I know that one of them will be back. So I may talk to her next week. It should be my normal nurse again. So this was just a really big checkup because of how sick I'd been. I required double duty care and a bigger checkup. So it required the second tier of people, but they're all great nurses, so I don't mind. But I sound better. At times, I even get my own voice back at me, and I'm like, whoa, my lungs are less inflamed today. I can breathe easier, and I just feel like I've about got it whipped. I wasn't going to give up, but boy, I tell you what, that was a fight. That was 2 weeks and something I just would not wish on anyone. And had I not gone into flare, it would have just seemed like a little strep throat, nothing big. But the flare and the COVID together about got me. And I acted more like an MS flare, which was weird. So all my lab work and everything's got to go to my neuro group. And it's just like, so I'm sure I'll go down there and they'll put those little needles in me and turn up the electric voltage again and see when I say ow. That's normally what they do when they think they're helping me. See? I forgot to respond on. I did look at it, but I forgot to make a comment. See? That's how I was yesterday. I was just in and out, critically thinking there was nothing happening in my noggin yesterday. Nothing. I was just yesterday. I was not in a good place yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was a bad day. Like the worst day in a long, like it was worse than the first 3 days with both COVID and the flare. This was just the flare ending and one last, let me just see how bad I can hurt you. Look what I can do. And that's what it did yesterday. And I'm moving slow and I'm not the most coordinated person today, but I'm definitely better. And that makes me know I'm moving on forward. But they did weigh me and I am at 40 pounds gone now. I don't know where it's coming from. I'm staying the same shape. I'm just getting smaller. And I'm like, I'm just going to be this shape my whole life. I'm stuck in this shape. But I've still got some fluid on my right side. So I'm probably closer to 41 or 42 pounds gone, to be quite honest. But we'll know more when I get completely through this flare. But I'm good. I'm feeling much better. I'm fixing to take a big old power nap. My nephew and his fiance are in. I wanted to go see him, but I'm just too weak. And I'm afraid I'll set myself back. And I was like, sorry. Catch you next time. But she did go hunting this morning and she did get an 8-point buck. So welcome to the family, Mackenzie. You have harvested your first buck. So they're going to stay and hunt again in the morning before they go back. So mom and dad are enjoying having their grandson in, the little Elvis. He's all grown up. And they're enjoying it, getting to know Mackenzie, and she seems like the sweetest, most precious little thing, and she seems like a perfect match for Micah. So I'm very endeared toward her because I don't know, she just seems like such a good fit to him that it's just like, how can you not appreciate someone that seems so, the opposite puzzle piece, they just seem very good together. So I would love to spend time with them. I'm just too tired. And I'm so sad about that because I love to socialize. But I'm going to have to wait to get to know her any better because I'm just too tired. I've met her before, but I'm just so tired. I just can't do it today. But I am going to nap. And then I'm going to edit more pictures, but I'm not going to push myself. I'm going to push fluids today. And hey, it's going around, and most people think it's sinus or strep, and they don't, and then the sore throat stops, and they think, oh, well, I'm just dealing with the drainage now, and then they'll kind of have some upset stomach from the drainage, and they think it's just sinus. That's what it's looking like now. And so a lot of people aren't even getting medical attention, and it's really not that big of a deal unless you are like me and you have something that can trigger, and then it's kind of a big deal. The COVID, though, for me was not bad. It was 3 days of, oh, my throat, and then it was gone. But when my body froze, the snot that had started couldn't get out. And it was completely my neuromuscular disorder that would have tanked me. Had something truly gone wrong, it would have been my neuromuscular disorder that caused everything. And the COVID was like a really bad head cold or strep throat. But together, it was horrible. I don't like those dual wham bams. I just know it was too much. So I am going to absolutely take advantage of having antibodies, and I'm going to have a very nice Thanksgiving and Christmas and not have to worry as much about catching it since I now have antibodies for a while. So that's the silver lining, is I'm going to have a really great Thanksgiving and Christmas visitation time because I don't have to worry about what I had. I don't think I'm going to grab it again. So I'm going to probably go a few more places with David than I normally would, since I've already been through the crap. I might as well enjoy the silver lining of the antibodies. So I'm getting there. I'm just tired. I'm getting there. So I hope to be crafting this weekend to start getting stuff prepped and to get into it. And if my energy keeps building like it has been, that should happen. Small steps though, and if I don't feel good, I won't do it. I'm not going to over push myself. But I really want to attend a live nativity at the South Ventress Park next weekend, next Saturday. And so I'm really trying to baby myself so that I get to go and do that, because this is the first year that I've actually got to attend community events. And it's been enjoyable. It used to be, I was in so much pain, I couldn't enjoy it. So now that I can walk and do, and I know it sounds bad, but my nerves finally like dying really helped reduce the amount of discomfort I was in all the time. And I have to drag my leg around a lot when it gets to where it doesn't want to respond, but at least I'm not in the pain I was in a few years ago, and I can do more. I have to sit down sometimes, and if my leg's not cooperating, I have to use my rolly cart, but I can do more and enjoy it without putting myself into like a massive flare with just little small things like that. So I'm really wanting to go to the live nativity. We used to do one up at the church. There's a church near us. We used to let them have our little Jack, who was perfectly trained. He was more safe than a gelding would have been. But he was a little miniature Mediterranean Jack, and he was professionally trained. His name was Stormy, and he played the donkey that carted Mary in for 7 years. And it got to the point where he loved it, because after that he got to go to the petting zoo, and he loved the kids. Because we would take him to festivals, and he would pull his cart, and he would show in the shows, and he was a big ham. I mean, he was funny. And he would see the trailer coming down the road, because the same people would come pick him up every year for the live nativity, and he would just, he was so excited to go. He was so proud to pack Mary in, and he was just so happy to have those kids love on him after each performance. And everybody was so amazed at how well trained he was. And I was like, well, I can't take credit for that. He was trained when I got him, but I continued his behavior. And he did that for 7 years. 7 years. And he would see the trailer, and he would start braying and pacing, and I could open the gate, and he would go and wait at the trailer, like do a little jig until they opened the back door, and then he would jump in. He was like, yep, gotta go be a star. And then he'd bring him home, and he'd walk back into the field, look at me like, sup, star's home. So he was precious. We had him for a decade. He was part of this family, but when the kids outgrew him, and he was so tiny, he was miserable. And when a guy came to buy the cart, the little girl looked just like Haley shrunk, and Stormy went crazy. He thought it was Haley again. And he followed her around and jumped in the trailer 3 or 4 times. And I was not going to sell him. I was just going to keep him until he died. And Haley came home and saw him playing with that girl and jumping in the trailer and wanting to go. And she said, Mama, sell him. She said, he'll be happier with that little girl. And so I told the man, I said, you can buy him, but I said, if you ever want to move him out off your property, you have to sell him back to me. And to this day, he's took 3 of his little girls through the Christmas parades as Sven and Elsa and Anna and Olaf. And the girls can go out and scoop him up, hook him up, hitch him up, ride him, just play with him. They do everything. And he doesn't have to worry because he's so well behaved. And they've bred him a couple times and got some little mule babies. And they're just adorable. But he's living the high life, and he's got 3 little girls from ages 14 through, I think, 5. Just loving all over him. So I miss him, but I know he's much, much happier than he would have been standing in my pasture waiting for grandkids to get here and get old enough to enjoy him. So you have to think about the animal at times like that. And I knew he would be happier with kids. He was definitely a kid's pocket pony kind of thing. So we miss him, but the man loves him. And he's like, no, he's like, he'll die on this property. He's like, we love him. And I'm like, I know, we loved him too. And the grandmother that had cancer for the last year, every day the girls would hitch him up and take grandma for a ride around the farm when grandma couldn't walk anymore. And so I think he thinks he owes that little Jack the retirement there, because for the last year of his mother's life, she got out and got to go see the farm because she could get in the cart and he could pull her. So I think he's found his forever place, but I still keep in touch. He's not doing the Christmas parades anymore. But I mean, he's still going places with him and doing stuff. So they're very happy with him. And he's got 3 little girls that love him, and they're all blonde. So he thinks Haley's just kaboom. There's 3 of them now. So he's very happy. But I miss my little minis. I miss my big horses. I miss my little minis. We kept the minis longer than anything, and then we finally had to sell them. And it was just too much for me to deal with. But David's been working on fence when he has time, and I think we're either going to put a steer over here or offer the stall in the barn to a friend that's got a few horses that doesn't have a big enough barn. So if they need a place to put their horse for the winter, when it gets really cold, they have a safe place for their horse. But I babysat lots of horses for friends over the years. I enjoy it. It makes me feel kind of like me. But my pasture's been empty for 3 years now. And it was empty for 3 years before that. I babysat a horse one summer and put some weight on her and got her back in good condition, just feeding her. They didn't know how to feed her. And I got her back in good condition and helped them find a better home for her because they just didn't know how to take care of her. And put like 220 pounds on that heifer. And she was happy. She was happy when she left here. She was happy and looked really good. And it wasn't they didn't love her. They just didn't understand a horse's gut. And so it'd be nice to have something in the field again. Something to sit on the porch and talk to. That's what I do. Sit on the porch and I squawk at them and they nicker back at me. I love it. I don't know. Maybe if my health improves. David said if I do really good that he would get me a little jack to put over there that could chase the coyotes away and stuff. But it'll be one that's probably feral that you have to pay $50 for. They unload it and run. But we do kind of need something over there to eat down the, and I don't want goats because I don't want to chase goats all over my county. Goats are Houdini. But I might get me a little jack or a little jennet to put over there and something to squawk at the coyotes, chase them off, and to eat down the grass so David doesn't have to mow it all the time. But I don't know, be nice. If I continue to do better in my health, if our government will stop creating things to make me sick, then I would love to have something 4-legged and hooved over there. It'd be nice again. But we'll see how I do through the winter. The winter is going to be the big test for me, and then the spring, how I transition into spring. That'll be the biggest test for me as far as has the physical therapy, the weight loss, and everything really truly helped, or is this disorder going to continue to tank me? But I'm going to fight back as much as I can. So I have to give it another 7 to 12 days before I can start the gym now because I've had all this and I'm really weak and my blood pressure is really low. I'm going to go lick salt again, don't worry. But I've got to put my gym off for a couple weeks, well, almost a couple weeks. So I've got to get my energy levels back up before they will let me turn me loose. So I have to have another checkup next week, and then she'll make the decision on when I can start. But I am planning on going to the gym once or twice a week. I'll do a lot of physical therapy here at the house myself, but I need the gym. Hi, Ashley. Yeah, I'm much better. Yesterday was a horrible day. I'm much better today. And my blood pressure, all the fluids coming off of me, and my muscles are much better. They're still tight, but they're not like they were yesterday. And I noticed in the little short thing I did the day before, I noticed how tense they were. And I thought, well, I didn't pay enough attention. I mean, I knew I looked bad and I knew I was probably heading for something, but I didn't pay enough attention to my muscles. And now when I watched that back, I was like, my goodness, I look like I'm holding like a cement block in each arm, and my traps were just popping in. It was because they were fixing to lock and freeze. I feel better, but where the fluid is shed today, my blood pressure's low, so I'm feeling kind of weak. But I'm going to rest, edit some photos, because I've got all of Jonah's photos that are going to be, oh gosh, y'all are going to love them. I'm amazed that I haven't really done anything with my camera other than a couple of maybe 2 sessions in 4 years. And I'm amazed at some of the pictures I got with him. And because we were going for kind of a character, you know, really playing up his lead singer, rock and roll character side. And I didn't know if I was really going to be able to capture that because Malika Joan, I just see my kid, my bonus child. And I'm amazed I did as well as I did. And especially on a farm, I wanted the juxtaposition of nature with this really unnatural being. That's what I wanted, you know, and I'm tickled with how well I did. And I'm excited to share them, but I'm going to wait until I have them all done because it will have a better impact when I get them all done. I'm really proud of what I did with my camera in the time that my body gave me to take those pictures. I'm really tickled with what I did. And I'm like, okay, I lose the time that I get to spend with my camera, but not losing my skills. So I'm fixing to lay down till you tell Abby Dabby Doo to up her vitamin C and drink some honey and lemon and warm water and to gargle some salt water. That's the best thing. That's what helped me the most in this entire process. And even though my lungs were stodgy from the flare, the doctors were like, they're good. You've done a great job keeping stuff out of you. And I'm like, Cherokee, folklore, and home remedies, buddy, let me tell you. Anything I can remember my great-grandma, grandma, or mama doing, I did it. And it's what got me through this as well as I have, because the way my body froze, it could have been hospital time for me had I not had the know-how that I had. Hey, you feeling any better, Pearl? I still sound like I could sing bass at the Gaither choir. Oh, Lord. But I'm perking up. I still look horrible, but I feel much better today. Much better. Well, I had one really bad day yesterday, and then it seems like maybe I've cut ties with this, and I'm going to move on. I hope. I'm just really tired today. All the fluid's coming off. It's bottom of my blood pressure, but I feel better otherwise. I'm just licking some salt to keep my blood pressure up today. Good. I'm glad you're better. And everybody's sick. Everywhere. It doesn't matter what state. Everybody's sick. Everybody's sick. And if you really want to look into some really weird stuff, you can look at the sickness ratios and look at cell phone new tower builds in the last 3 years, and there's a direct link. I did a lot of digging while I was sick because it made me mad. It made me mad. I was offended. And so I started digging, and I was like, oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, really? And every time I find something, I'd be like, oh, Dave, look at this. And David finally was just like, my God. I was like, I know. The information's out there, guys. When something that's got a name that is an illness has its own wide area network, and rural areas don't have it until they come in and put up 5 towers, and then in 3 weeks of turning off 5 towers, 67% of the county is sick. Now, I'm slow, but I'm not that slow. And I'm fixing here in a week or two, to do a very important interview with a very important and knowledgeable person that's going to bring up some very great information for you all. And we're going to have to do it in a very vague way for YouTube, but we're going to do a very important interview. And it's going to be, yeah, they think we're done. Yeah, they think we're done. They do. They think we're done. But there has been scientific journals, professors, colleges trying to get this person to do interviews, and they refuse because they don't want anyone monetized to do it. They don't want anyone that they can't trust to do it. And so they asked me, they were like, will you do the interview? And I was like, sure. I will tell you that the moment we both said yes to me doing the interview and her coming down here to do the interview, we both were sick within 48 hours. Three states away. Well, yeah, go. Yeah, I've got to go through 3 states to get to her. Really? Really? So we're both mending, but hey, it's going to happen. I don't care how many times they give me a snotty nose, it's going to happen. So, but yeah, there's a direct, And a lot of rural people were really, the way that I found out this stuff is, I started listening to some really smart people in my area that were really concerned about the 17 new towers they put up in a 4-county radius of us, but no one's signals were getting any better. So we all started looking into it. There was no change in service, no change in anything. The only change was in the sickness that had pretty much avoided our area for the last 2.5 years. But after they turned on those towers, everybody's sick. Everybody's sick. And if you know how your body works, you know that you're basically an electrical magnet full of water. You're just a human antenna. I want a shirt that says "Not your human antenna." I want a shirt that says that, because they use us a lot to bounce off signals and to web the internet, because we're just little antennas. And and our bodies can be Bluetoothed. Our bodies are built like a computer anyway, the way they work. They've done that. They've had that technology for years. When I was a parole officer, I had a device that I could scan, and I know the TOMUS number of every individual that was in a store or in a home. So I know what they have. I used to use the stuff. But I'm telling you what, they've amped it up here lately. They've amped it up. Yeah, I was a parole officer. I had an RF scanner, and my violent offenders had to wear RF tags, which I think now they're trying to actually move it to a permanent, like, tattoo or chip. But right now it's a bracelet or an anklet that they have to pick, and it has to be put on them before they leave. So the institutional parole officer has to put it on before they can be paroled. And I could go by and just scan home, and I would get the TOMUS number of anyone in said radius. And so I'd know if they had their buddy over and was lying to me. I'm like, send his butt home. I see his TOMUS number. He's in there. And so I know that they've had this kind of stuff available because I've used it in my line of work. I just never thought, yeah, nodes on the network. Boop, boop. Yep. And I think if they're doing those things, they should have to tell us, because I'm sorry. If I go into Walmart, I have to know all of Walmart's policies about how, what they allow. If you go into my body, you should have to have permission. We should have some rules set down there. There should be some rules. So, and, a lot of our food now has got technology in it that we don't know about. It's got certain things in it that we probably wouldn't want to know about. Thank God I eat more stuff from the woods than I do the store these days. But it's sad what this world's becoming. It's very sad. And they think we're stupid, and they try to play it off as they're dumb hicks or they're low-level servants. And they really are trying to create and go back and create like where they had the kings and the peasants. And it's just like, it's not going to work. That's not going to work. And, and everybody was mad at me when the last election, I said that was the biggest transaction we've ever seen. And they said, what did he sell? And I said, all of us. And they got really mad at me when I said that. Now they're coming back and going, what did you mean exactly by that? Because I understand now. And I'm like, okay, we could talk a little bit more about that now. And anyone that still doesn't get that, I can't help you now. If you want to be blind, you're going to be blind. And I'm not responsible for your blindness. I really think people just need to open up and start looking at things and realizing that our government has one job, and it is to keep its citizens safe. And they have failed at that job for the last several decades. And that's because it's not been their priority. It's not been their, focus. It's only been ours. We just thought it was their focus. You go back and you look at the Edgewood experiments, and you look at just look at the Edgewood experiments, and your mind will be shattered about what they have done to people. And it's just now being caught and prosecuted and brought to light. There are people that have gone through atrocities just as bad as any third world nation that does horrible things here in America too, and at the hands of the people that are supposed to be protecting the citizens. So it's sad, and you really have to dig, and you have to be able to put all the manure in a pile and sift through it to find the corn. That's the nicest way I could put it. But, by the time you find all them little seeds of corn, you got enough to plant a whole garden of knowledge. But you got to wade through the minutia to get to it. And a lot of people just don't have the patience. Like, I think the average attention span is like 2.78 seconds for kids 5 to 14 years of age. That should scare you right there. And adults is, I think, like 300% smaller than it has been in like the last 15 tests they've done, like every 2 years. The neurosynaptic monitoring of the neurosynaptic regions and how the brain fires, they're seeing less firing, less overall consumption use of the brain. We're not hitting on all cylinders, y'all. We got a carbon block. We are stuck. Somebody needs to put some gas in the carburetor and light her up. But it's sad to watch people willingly be ignorant and confused when they don't have to be ignorant and confused. But it's also just as frustrating for people to come on here and tell me I'm ignorant when they can't understand and they won't take 5 minutes to read beyond the first 2 sentences of a scientific journal or a college textbook that tells everything that's going on right now. And it's just like, I can't help you if you won't see. If you want to be blind, you're going to be blind. If you don't want to be blind, you're going to see stuff you don't want to see, but it's going to help you prepare for, I think what the world's fixing to go through. And really, honestly, the only way you can prepare is to turn to the Lord and prep your butt. Okay. That's about the only way you can truly prepare. But it will make you more aware. I've got Foxfire books. I bet you in 5 years, they'll be worth more gold than all the land, because they tell you how to live off the land. I've got, I don't know how many dictionaries of herbal remedy, medicinal plants and edible plants in North America. And of course, I can pretty much go walk through the yard and eat a lunch because that's just how I was raised. But things like that are lost to most people. And if you don't have it in print, when the crap hits the fan, you're not going to have that knowledge. So even though I have a pretty good resource center going on up here from where I grew up in the sticks, I have bought tons of books in the last 3 years. I'm just on live. I'm not on StreamYard. I'm just on live stream. So, but yeah, I would recommend everybody start looking into stuff and look at the sickness ratios in metro areas, and then look at the sickness ratios at rural areas. Find and then go back and find the building and setup of large numbers of towers in various states, and just mirror image that to look at when the towers are turned on, when they were being built, when they were turned on, look at the sickness to when they were being built, the sickness level in that area when they were turned on, and look at it for a 2 to 5 month gap there. And you're going to see a huge sickness, and it's going to curve off, and it's going to kind of do this. And everywhere I've researched, it pretty much does the same thing. Thank you for being a human dictionary. Yes, autism, formerly known, said to be, they're on the spectrum. Now it's been proven that we're all on the spectrum. It's just that autistic individuals lean toward more one side due to social issues and just different ways of looking at things. Now, I think that Temple Grandin has one of the most magical brains in the world, and I think anyone that doesn't know who Temple Grandin is should go and research Temple Grandin. I think Temple Grandin could put our world back together in about 3 years, because she wouldn't lie. She'd say exactly what she saw, and she'd read out the problems to you right as she's seen them, and then she'd go for a resolution, because they have a very linear, they must follow this protocol, and they have, they have a very focused analytical straightforward, no fluff kind of personality. And they don't really care about social pressures. So they're really great people to identify issues and speak about them. I would love to hear Temple Grandin's perspective on what's been going on the last 3.5, 4 years in America. Oh yeah, iodine's great. Iodine and I'm telling you, if you plant your gardens, ground your gardens with copper, and if you can ground anything else, the copper, ground it with copper. Copper's one of them things that you want to be around too. Colloidal silver water is really good. Now I'm not a doctor. This is just what I do. Colloidal silver water is really good. Irish sea moss is really great if you need extra minerals and vitamins every day. It's got like 90 something of the 103 you need daily. And black seed powder is really good for sickness and stuff. I've got a whole old-timey medicine cabinet, and it's from what I know from great-grandma being native and having a lot of that Cherokee wisdom with her, granny following it up, mom using a lot of it as well. Mom was also very much all about our Appalachia roots, so she kept it very, very home, like she was so focused on how Appalachia lived and functioned that's the way we did everything. And I just have a lot of built-in knowledge. And it's just from growing up in the woods, y'all. It's just from growing up in the woods. I understand energy work because I've worked with horses and trained horses and cattle and sheep for shows, for livestock shows and riding. And people that think they do not have an energy circle or and it reaches for 6 to 8 feet, depending on how potent you are. I'm just going to tell you. That's why you work horses at pressure points and round pens. Because they feel your energy, and that's how you get them to respond to you. It's how you push them off. It's how you turn them, and that's how you give them an open door to come to you. And so I understood energy work immediately because I used it on the horses I trained my whole life. And I would never touch a horse. I'd work a horse for a week without touching it, just to build up rapport that I am the big dog. You go where I tell you to go, and you come to me when I tell you to come to me. And then when we want to be friends, I'll decide when that is. And I've created great bonds with, and I still get Christmas cards from people I sell horses to. And I mean, I've got one that's 23. I hope he lives to be 25 or 28. But they still check in with me. They love him. They've had him since he was 5. And so, I just understand that. You ever hog hunted and had a hog bayed and had it cornered somewhere and couldn't get out? You'll understand energy. That hog, well, you will feel what that hog's fixing to come out. Oh, you feel it. And so these people that say I don't believe in the energy, the aura, the energy, really, and it's mostly people in metro areas that have been taught to dull their senses and ignore everyone around them. That's probably why they don't feel it. But energy work is, we all emit energy, and the kind of energy you emit is who you attract and who you repel and what kind of life you have, basically. Yeah, I worked with horses. My dad was a blacksmith, so I grew up working in horse barns. My family had a lunch taxidermy shop and meat processing place at one time. I always grew up on farms, worked broiler houses for my grandpa and my dad, shod horses with my dad, and then trained and worked at a number of large barns in middle and eastern Tennessee. I was a very highly sought after head stable boy. And that's how I put myself through college. And everybody, they didn't want to handle the studs. Even the boys that worked at, that were college students there, they didn't want to handle the studs. Let me tell you what, you can handle a stud if you walk in there and you tell that stud, by God, you're going to do what I tell you to do. And they would always be like, Liz, can you come get the stud and move him? Yes, you little pansy. Move, princess, let me get the pony. They couldn't fix the manure spreader either. I ain't never met boys can't fix me. It's literally 3 levers and a chain. How much easier can you get? You need maybe 2 wrenches, a grease gun, and a lot of muscle. That's all you need to fix a manure spreader. Ooh, they couldn't drive a stick shift either. Oh my God. So they couldn't drive the farm truck. I had to always go get the grain. They couldn't drive the front end loader. And I'm just like, how stupid are people? And they couldn't even figure out the hydraulics lines one day. And I said, wipe them off. And they said, why? I said, because they're color coded, you idiot. I worked with lots of people that I wondered how they learned to wipe their honey in. But yeah, we all have an energy field, and if you work with animals, you understand that immediately. You know when a dog is upset, you know. But it's funny because you go to Great Smoky Mountains and see people going up to a mama bear that's got her cubs behind her, got her ears pinned, and she's chomping and telling them, "I'm fixing to eat you if you don't leave me alone." And they go, "Isn't she cute? She's smiling for the camera." And I'm leaning out my truck going, "She's fixing to eat your ass. You need to move." Hey Denise, how are you? But a lot of people just they don't have that sixth sense built in anymore, and I think it's been something they very. If you listen to Steve Isdell, I am very. He's a how to hunt pro guides, something other. He does a lot of the Bigfoot stories on YouTube as well. But I love Steve Isdell. He's a very he goes out at 6 to 8 weeks at a time and does backcountry hike hunts. This man can live off the land. He's tougher than a pine knot. I respect this man. Him and David Pilatus, I respect both of them so much. But these people have lost their sixth sense, and he believes very firmly that it has been the government and the governments of the world basically wanting our sixth sense gone so that we don't have basically the capacity to question, our government because they don't think we would have judgment either. And if you look, you can't fix stupid. Let me tell you, duct tape works. If you look at the way simple assaults and aggravated assaults have skyrocketed since, something's not right. Because normally for a climb, and this is me going back to my psychobabble, I'm sorry, but normally for society to acclimate to such a normalization of such a large change in behavior, it would take 10 to 12 years, not 3, not 2 or 3. And this is not just in the U.S., this is worldwide in the areas that were highly aggression is a much more prominent, people are gesticulating, which they're acting like a big gorilla and they're slinging their arms and coming after people rather than talking. And it's like they're regressing us and no one else sees it. I do. I look at social stats and justice department stats all the time. And I thought it was just a U.S. thing because we were really locked down and we were really, supposed to be the land of the free. Well, maybe we got enough rebels to be buttholes. No, worldwide. I think it's like an average of 67%. Aggressive violence is up 67%. That normally should take a 10 to 12 year arc and massive social unrest. I mean, it's just for it to change so quickly in just one generation and in make 2 behavior panels in one generation should not happen. So who's pushing the remote? You ain't got mine. I don't think I'm calcified yet. Thank you very much. But people like me that are very outspoken, we get a lot of crap. Yep. And oddly enough, when I start questioning things, that's normally when I get my sickest. But that's okay. I'm going to keep questioning. If I have to talk through snot, I will. We live in a very rural area where our coyotes are very large too. They average, normally, a coyote will normally be like 25 to 37 pounds, and that's normally a max. They normally stay in that. If it's a full-blooded coyote, they normally kind of stay in that age right now. My husband's a tanner and trapper, so I know what I'm talking about. And let me tell you what I talked to the USDA, the TWRA, and done a huge paper on coyotes for our local newspaper because Tennessee only has like a 38,000 population of coyotes. We have very healthy coyotes, and we normally have lower numbers because we keep them in check. But we have the thing we have here is rogue dogs out of control because every Tennessee resident has 1.6 pets. And how many of those are not accounted for and have been able to run off? And a pack of dogs will turn into a rogue pack of dogs quicker than anything. They don't have to have a coyote with them. They just have to have enough to get that little herd mentality that, we're the group to beat, And we had like the whole sheep flock at the high school farm killed in one night by a bunch of rogue dogs. They were trying to blame the coyotes, and I said, that's not a coyote kill. Coyotes are smart. They know how many they have in their den. They know how many they have to feed, and they only take what they need. And they live kind of peacefully with bobcats and raccoons, and even fishers. They'll live peacefully with fishers. They'll share the land with other predators, and they'll each have good little boundaries. And if you've got a good family of coyotes that has good boundaries and you keep low numbers, it'll keep the land very healthy because they work in conjunction with all the other wildlife. That's why we don't ever trap to eradicate. We trap for healthy numbers. If you ever see anything come in and decimate an entire population of sheep, it was either a big cat, or wild dogs, because coyotes will not do that. Now, a bobcat will go in and kill every chicken in a chicken house because they get caught up in it too. It's like a lust kill. Coyotes don't lust kill. They think. And they're smart. We've got a big one, not very far from our house, that will come up and look at my husband's trail camera at least 3 times a season and have to say, "Ha, fat man, you ain't got me yet." And so my husband's after him. But it's kind of like, who's wiser now? Who's going to catch who? But it's the road dogs are a problem here in our area. Coyotes know to save some for later. And they're just smart. And if they've got a good balance, now if a transient or a rogue coyote comes through, they can raise up some problems. But if you're a landowner that's really watching your land, you know what you've got. You kind of, and you get a working relationship with them, you will. And they're pretty respectful. But that's why you got to keep healthy numbers, because when they get too many, they lose that respect. If I even walk out of my porch with a long barrel, they're gone, because they know somebody's fixing to drop. Run! So they don't spend much time around me. So they give me pretty much wide berth, and we've taught them that way, and we've got quite a bit of land, but we're surrounded by farmland, so they run rampant here. And my husband is actually fleshing and tanning one for another tanner or another trapper. He doesn't tan, so he's asked my husband. He said, "Will you tan this for me?" And it's the weirdest looking thing. And if I can get a picture of it, I'll share a picture of it. I think David's still got one. It is a coyote that within the last 7 generations, one of its elders was bred with a Walker coonhound. And it augmented it enough. If you ever see a white spot on the end of a coyote tail, and some of them have a big long white strip and some of them have a little teeny, however long that white spot is on the end of the trail, that indicates domestic dog. If it's a really long white spot at the tip of the tail, that is a pretty recent dose of domesticated dog. They got more domesticated dog in them than we'd like. Smaller is less domesticated dog in them. That's how you can kind of tell. You can look at their teeth and their ear set and stuff and their paws too, but that gets people kind of screwed up. The tips of the tails are the easy way to tell. And the coloration patterns will change as well. This one looks like a Walker dog color-wise, but is completely shaped like a coyote. So the color palette pattern has stayed in the genetics as the domesticity has been bred out. And so we kind of found that amazing, because sometimes we get asked by UT Wildlife at the Knoxville campus to send in teeth and gum and hair samples so they can, especially if we run across a black coyote when we're trapping, we always send those in. When I was 14, they couldn't remember, they put red wolves out at Cades Cove in the Great Smoky Mountains, but they didn't stay there. They thought they would stay. They thought, well, they've got plenty of food. They went, well, yeah, they got plenty of food, but they don't like that habitat. They don't like that. No, it was carved up too much for them. They didn't like it. Well, where did they run? Up where I live, because we're wilder than a hen up here. And so my family trapped and hunted, and we was out deer hunting. And I don't know if it had gotten in one of my brother's traps or he saw it deer hunting and popped it. It's been long enough now, I can't remember. But when we both got up to it, it was like, that is not a coyote. That's not shaped like one, but that's not a coyote. And so we called the game warden, and he was like, that's not a coyote. And he said, I think you might have just found where the red wolves went. And so we had to take tissue samples and stuff and mail it in to, gosh, my hair, to UT then. That's how I kind of got in on all this. And they called us like 2 weeks later and they said, oh my God, yes, that was like a 67% red wolf. So we now know where they migrated to. And they were like, thank you so much. And we were like, eh. Now they're all bred out now. Like you can't tell that we have red wolves in the area. But I will say that the coyotes are getting that big mane right here now that they normally don't have. They've got a lot of bushiness, but there's this big thick mane right here that a coyote normally doesn't have, but that a gray wolf does. They keep saying that gray wolf has not bred down this far south. I believe they have, because the last 3 years, this big thick mane right here has gotten more substantial on every male dog. And I'm just like, they've bred down. We've got gray wolf genes down here. And so we've been trying to get them to look into that. I think they've already looked into it. They just don't want to tell us. But I can tell you that the beaver we have here are also sharing the genes of the blonde beaver from Saskatchewan territory. And our beaver, our state record is like 110 or 115 pounds, somewhere running through there. David has routinely caught them that are 70 to 85 pounds. These are like, they stand up and they bite the tree at 4-foot level, okay? I mean, they're big. They're not little cute, oh, don't kill the beaver. They're big, holy crap, kill that thing, you know? And so I know that stuff has moved farther south than they think. And I just don't think they want to tell us everything. But I notice the changes in animals because I'm handling them all the time, because my husband is a trapper and a tanner, so I'm handling them and seeing them. And I grew up doing this. My brother was a taxidermist, had a hunting lodge, so I've seen wildlife in multiple states of, how you say that nicely, being taken apart. And I see the changes in them structurally, physically, and even how they react to people. I see the changes. But I'm noticing a lot of different coat changes in the coyotes around here in the last few years. So, and David's trapping season has started. If you want to watch his channel, it's Trapper Dave Waters. I shared his first scouting video the other day on here, but he has his own channel. That stuff will be going on later. And I may have him point out those differences as he goes through the season as well, so that you all can see them through his eyes and pay attention through his eyes, because he sees stuff that I'm good. I'm good in the woods too. Well, I'm not, my body isn't anymore, but mentally I was really good in the woods when I was younger. And but he even sees stuff that I don't see. We have really good perspectives. When we ginseng and hunt together, we were a really good team because we had two different ways of looking at things. So we were really accomplished when we would hunt and work together in the woods. But I can't do any of that now, unless I got a 4-wheel drive side-by-side or gator, and then I can get somewhere, but I can't get back in the back 40 like I really enjoy anymore. But I've ginsenged until I've jumped hogs and scared the crap out of myself. Little sneaky things. Also with a wild hog has a straight edged, it's a straight slope. And if they got domestic in it, it'll have a concave up there. And a wild hog will have straight out pointed ears, and if you've got domestic in it, they'll droop a little bit. But people all the time are trying to sell wild hog skulls on like eBay and stuff. And I'm like, that's a domestic pig, because it'll just be scooped. And I'm like, that's a domestic hog. And you can the less the scoop, the more wild. And then you get like we had to have pure Russian boar for the hunting lodge. And so they had to stay 30 days for USD blood work and to be approved to be released onto the grounds. Them suckers had straight freaking noses. They were big woolly mammoth, and they come after you and try to hook you with their tushes. Mean. Now a hog in the woods, I'd rather meet a bear than a hog. I'm just here to tell you. But a hog in the woods is nothing to scoff at. But now one of these wild Russian boar, he's mean. And we did the big hunts. They were routinely 400 to 600 pounds. Mean. Which is probably why I ended up supervising murders for the state of Tennessee. After a big old 600-pound hog's run at you, nothing else pretty, seems scary. But there's a lot of changes going on in our world, and the animals feel it. I feel it. I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention to the animals, and I'm paying attention to stats, data, scientific journals, and I'm looking at, especially my county and surrounding counties, and how our sickness ratio is comparable to other areas in other states that's comparable to our area. So I'm looking at these rural areas that are having a lot of new development in towers built, in the last 2 to 3 years. And that when all of the fear and all these big cities and all the sickness, there was nothing going on. It was crickets down here. But as soon as these towers come, as soon as they're turned on, massive sickness. And I'm just looking, is there a correlation? Is there a causal relationship between the building of these and the sickness that follows? And it's just a question I have. I'm trying to answer it. I don't know the answer. I think I know the answer, but I can't say definitively that I do, but I definitely see a pattern. And I think that's what we have to look for right now, is pattern in behavior and responses, and how is humanity's social graces changing, and are they supposed to change this fast? And if not, why? What's happening? Because there's been a lot of behavioral changes in people in the last 3 years that should have taken a decade or more to have increased, even with stress and PTSD and all the crap that's come with this stuff. But I'm going to do a very important interview in the next couple of weeks. We're trying to get a day together so we can get together and get it done, because we do have quite a bit of miles between us, and then we both have been very sick. As soon as we both said yes to the interview, we were both sick. I'm doing it because I'm not monetized, and they know they can trust me to not turn it into a 3-ring circus, and to make sure that the people that deserve the information get the information, so that it's not lorded off by some college or prestigious club that will put it in a lockbox and never let anyone see it. So there's a high likelihood that I may not be on YouTube much longer. But I'm sorry, the truth is worth more than a YouTube channel, right? But if you can't find me here, you can find me. I do have a page reserved on Odyssey. On the Odyssey platform is Hillbilly Heart, and I have a page reserved on the Brightian platform under Hillbilly Heart. So you can find me. If I disappear from here, you can find me. So that's what I've been working on. I think it's going to be quite the awakening for a lot of people that watch me. I know my subs kind of drop off when I get sick, but I have a pretty solid, good, logical group of people that I think can compost this information and spread it and get it to where it needs to go. And I'm looking forward to it. Whether it costs me my channel or not, I don't care. I'll pop up somewhere else. Keep talking. I am not one that can be herded, pinned, and provoked. I do my own thing. So, so Tina, if you can't find me here, I do have an Odyssey and Brightian channel earmarked under Hillbilly Heart. So if I disappear from here, you got to find me there. Everybody else normally knows how to contact me through email. It's watersworkload@gmail.com. Watersworkload, all one word, watersworkload@gmail.com. And that's just the easiest way to find me, to email me if you can't find me online. But I have other pages already earmarked and ready to upload on should something happen here. But I have questions, and I think she has some answers and some information that everybody will enjoy. And I think it will be a head scratcher, and I think we need to have a head scratcher conversation. I mean, I love to craft and be funny and, and laugh too, but sometimes we have to have serious conversations. And hey, buckle up, roll your britches up, it's fixing to get deep in here, because we're going to have one. Oh Lord, if you go back and listen to I was a wilderness camp counselor for juvenile felons, basically, that had to go into the woods instead of prison. I had a boy throw an axe at me, started 10 years of leg surgeries that never repaired, but always got worse. Then they finally diagnosed me with reflex sympathetic dystrophy, which they call complex regional pain syndrome now. It acts more like MS with me. So I do good until I flare, and then I bomb for a while. I had not ever had COVID and not been sick. And the moment I agreed to this interview, I got COVID. It's okay. They gave me a snotty nose. Then I went to flare, which made it much worse, but I got through it. But after, I worked through all the leg surgeries. I would just have to take time off. And I supervised violent male offenders and murderers for the state for about a decade. And then I did counseling with youth in state's custody that had trauma and addiction backgrounds. And I am just a hillbilly. I'm hill folk. I twang. I will dig up a root and make a concoction before I will go to the doctor. I'm just one of them people. I will chew a plantain leaf and stick it on a skeeter bite to make it stop itching. I'm just one of them people. I will pull dandelion leaves and eat them while we're talking in the front yard. It's just who I am. Just be prepared. It's who I am. I will eat honeysuckle blooms till the sun goes down. Those are so yummy. Oh my God. But I've worked at state and federal level before, and I didn't like what I saw. I didn't like what I saw. And they all wanted me to change so much. And I was like, when you emotionally try to steer somebody by the nose, it's because you want something from them. I'm already giving you my service. I'm already giving you my hard work. I'm already doing a great job. I had an 84% success rate in my caseload because I dealt with the root of the problem. Why do you need me to be so submissive? What do you want? They didn't like that I didn't always listen. Like when the governor called and asked me to do clemency paperwork, that he knew this man's father and he wanted clemency. I said, he's a murderer that's already on a suspended sentence. But last week he traveled across state lines without notifying me and got a domestic assault charge. I'm not doing clemency paperwork. He called me back. He said, did you just hang out? I said, yep. Well, young man, I'm the governor and you're going, nope. Not putting my name on anything. That's my name on the paperwork that says that I approve that. I will not approve that. That is not legal. And then my manager called. Did you hang up on the governor? Yep, twice. And if he says, ask for me to do anything illegal, I'll hang up on him a third time. If you want somebody to do the paperwork, you find somebody else because it ain't going to be me. And then they sent me one guy that kept on doing death threats to his officers. He sat down at my desk that day and I said, let's get something out of the way right now. I said, when I ain't here working, I said, I'm in the woods. I said, doing spear hunts for hogs. I said, so if you're going to bring your death threats, I said, make them good. Don't waste my time. I need to be entertained. Do we understand each other? And he said, yes, ma'am. Never got a death threat. You know, and it's just like, hey, you know, people do pick up on boundaries when you lay them down. They pick up on your energy when you lay it down. So, random shorts and videos. I used to supervise murderers and violent felony offenders for the state. And before that, I worked at a juvenile wilderness boot camp. And then after that, I I counseled youth in state's custody that had trauma and addiction issues. So they were violent, but it was because of things they had gone through. And I had one boy say he was going to come bum rush me one day. And I was like, listen, I'm like 4 times the size of you. You're going to hit me, bounce off, hit the floor, look stupid. Let's just not even go there. And let's just say you didn't say that. We'll just get back to work. And he just kind of looked at me. I was like, or you can hit the floor. It's up to you. You know, he chose not to hit the floor that day. But I'm really good with aggressive, violent, mannered people. I think it's where I worked with bulls and animals and big horses. And, you know, my uncle and my grandpa had draft mules and Belgians. And you have to really have a strong sense of self and a strong energy level to deal with those animals. And then I hog hunted, halter broke cattle, and shod horses with my dad. My dad was a blacksmith. And I was just a bigger, burlier woman than what people were used to. But I also did not rein in my energy. I let people feel it. And most people will sit down and within 5 minutes, they think they want to tell me their whole life story. And it's because of the energy I bring to the table. And other people pick up very quickly that if they let something out they don't want let out, I'm going to be on it. So I normally get quite the wide berth around here. I'm not gonna lie. I get, you know, people that know me, respect me, and I've got friends. Most of my friends I've had since kindergarten, and you know, I'm a good person, but I'm not somebody you want to get on the bad side. Yeah, I mean, they want to. It's almost like they want to traumatize you to see how much they can get away with while you're their employee. And I was like, nope. I ain't going to walk behind a kicking mule twice. And the jail up here, where I had been institutional parole officers, county jail, they kept trying to hire me. And I was like, nope, I know your officers. Wouldn't work amongst them, wouldn't hunt dogs with them. Nope. And they got mad when I said things like that. But hey, a couple of years later, FBI comes in here and starts doing investigations. Guess what they find? Oh, a bunch of officers have gotten lawsuits. I mean, it is what it is. I'm just going to tell you because Mama said I was born without an edit, backspace, or delete key. Best way to be. Nobody has to wonder what you're thinking. You just say it. You just say it. What's so wrong is that we live in a world where you can't have an opinion anymore, and you can't have a boundary. The only people that think they're supposed to have boundaries are the people that have not even established how to tie their shoe or wipe their hind end, but yet they want all the respect and, do none of the work. And I'm like, that's not the way the world works, honey. Oh, I am too. I've done more to help people. And my criminal judge, he retired last year, and he made a joke. He said, "You worked harder without your badge than you did with it." And I said, "Yep, I know." I'm still working in this community to get people drug rehab and to get them on a better path and to keep them motivated, to keep them mentally focused. I'm still doing that social care kind of work. I'm still watching people and going, if you have a problem, you come to me before you fall off that slide. Okay, buddy? I'm still the buffer for many of them, and they still come to me with a lot of their issues. And I've got several that have actually gone into the ministry, into musical ministry, and I'm very proud of many of my guys have just far exceeded my wildest dreams. And when somebody that everyone wanted to watch fail succeeds, I love it. I love it because it twists society and it makes you have to say, oh, look, as long as you're breathing, you can change. Oh, look, the status quo is not the status quo. So I still do a lot of work in the area, and the parole board, people from the parole board, and my judges still check in with me. And I still kind of have my finger in a lot of pies so I can help people. But what I've seen the last several years is a plague of stupidity. And it starts with a distraction at a young age, numbing the brain so that they don't look at the world around them. They're not invigorated or elated to see nature or the world around them. They're only invigorated by stimulation that is overstimulation. So then they have to go get medicated. So now we've got a medicine in the brain that's messing up our chemical and hormonal reactions, and they're not even old enough to be in puberty yet. Well, then you add puberty and, it's Chernobyl in there. And that's why we have a non-functioning group of young adults that think they can live in the basement till 35 and still suck their thumb. Do this, honey. It'll pop you off the tit. It'll break suction. I've said that to so many people. Pull right here. It'll break suction off your mom's tit. And I mean it. There's babies. There's babies. And how can people that cannot understand that my perception doesn't have to be your perception, and your perception can be different, and I have to understand that. They don't even understand that there's more than one brain. They think there's like a hive mind. My reality is the only reality. If you don't live in my world and you're not a mirror image of me, then you must hate me. Okay. When you were conceived, there were over 440,000 options available. And for some reason, the good Lord picked you to be spat out. I'd like to know why. Can we work harder? I'd like to know why. Because right now, I'm not picking up on any reason why the good Lord molded you out of nothing. And, people get really mad when you ask those questions. But I think a lot of people need that question asked of them. Oh, I do activism. What prompted that? I'm a person on this planet, like all the rest of us. There's got to be a passion. You've got to have a reason for that. No, I just you want to belong. You didn't have a family group growing up because the government broke down the family through welfare and basic daycare and school privileges that they said were beneficial to the family, but were not. So we have more broken homes than unbroken homes, which takes away parental oversight, which allows children to mature faster with less knowledge, which is a bad thing because they make stupid decisions. And now we've got stupid people that have never had their butt smacked, running the world, stuck in their thumb, crying in the corner, wondering why things are hitting the fan. Well, it's because you didn't take your diaper off till you're 27. There's a lot of crap to compost, okay? We're busy. So we've got a lot of work to do as a society. We've got a ton of work to do as a society to bridge the gap. There's a huge emotional gap between two generations, and it was created because naturally it would not have occurred. No way. It takes so many factors to change all those core components. It would normally take so much longer to naturally augment that. It's happening for a reason. Good for you. Good for you. Well, I am disabled now after all the leg surgeries and then this neuromuscular disorder. It spread to my internal organs, and I had so many hospitalizations. My doctor was like, if you keep trying to push yourself, you're going to kill yourself. You need to stop. So I finally retired from counseling, and I was permanently disabled 3-4 years ago. And I find it being home very frustrating because I have a lot of knowledge crammed in this noggin that should be put to use. But I think the reason I'm home is because I'm a better mouthpiece here than I would have been in any of the jobs that I would have been I would have been hindered if I were still packing a badge or under an ethics committee. It wouldn't have gone over well the last couple of years. We'll just say that. So maybe this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And this was the Lord's path for me. I don't know. I mean, he could have done everything without the axe. The axe coming at me was a bit much, Lord. But I'm belligerent. Maybe it took an axe. Just be honest. I'm belligerent. It probably took an axe. But yeah, I want to see society buck up and pick back up that spirit we're supposed to have and understand that what we're doing to each other, we're doing it completely out of ignorance, willful ignorance at that, the stupidity. And we're allowing people to hurt us like a little bunch of sheep straight to slaughter. And it's just like Temple Grandin said, they just took the right angles out of the slaughterhouses so that the corners don't scare us as much. And we rounded a few corners in the last few years. It should have scared the crap out of us, but nobody noticed them because they just smoothed them out just a little bit, and we didn't notice them. It only takes 5% of a population to determine the momentum of the population. 5% of a group to determine what the group's going to do. We just need a few people on the right track. We just need to keep praying that more people wake up. If you have liked what I've been talking about, I recommend you go to the Odyssey platform, Odyssee. They spell it funny, Odyssey, and look up the Synergy channel, Psinergy. It takes some getting used to. Presentation style, she's a little bit crass. But the knowledge this woman has from her careers and just the way her brain functions, and I personally know her. She's a sweetie pie in real life, but now she looks like a hard ass when she gets on a tangent. But the knowledge that can, I took a 15-minute video and it took me 3 days to research it. That's how much knowledge comes at you in one 15-minute video. Like my accent. Well, it's the dying accent of Appalachia. I'm the last of the Scots-Irish that crossed with the Cherokee, and we keep that humdinger of accent going. And I can twang a whole lot more, but I can slow it down too. But yeah, if you like what I've been saying, go to the Odyssey platform and look up the channel Synergy, Psinergy. And prepare to have your mind blown. She was on Stacy and Doug, the homesteaders, the other day. They did a video about her the other day, a couple weeks ago, and she has since blown up. She's been put in multiple languages on multiple platforms and spreading like wildfire, and has been contacted by some super mega smart, important people wanting interviews. And she refuses to give it to anyone like that because she knows that they're just going to monetize it and milk it and twist it. So I will be getting that interview. And we're going to be doing it probably in the next week, 7 to 10 days. Yeah, I've learned how to pace myself. The only reason I sound so bad right now, because normally I have I sound like Bonnie Taylor's Total Eclipse of the Heart. That's what I sound like right now. I normally am very good at keeping myself in check because I can kind of tell when I stress my body and am heading toward a flare, and I can pull back and not do so much. But I got COVID a couple of weeks ago. It got me. It finally snuck right up on me and bit me in the butt. And it caused me to go into flare. Now, it by itself wasn't that bad. It was like strep throat. I wasn't too impressed, to be quite honest. But then my neuromuscular disorder said, oh, look what I can do. And it got in on the show, and it was more like an MS flare than my normal flares. And I have reflex sympathetic dystrophy. So it's like MS, but there's no controlling it. And so if I get sick or have something else, I'll go into flare and my body will just shut down. My nerves will screw up. My muscles will freeze. It's a whole rigmarole. Good Lord have mercy. I will swell. It's bad. And I got this, and for the first 3 days, I thought, well, I'm going to be able to get through this. I've done enough physical therapy and lost enough weight. I'm going to be able to get through this. And then I went to flare, and it was like, nope. It's like, so I did croup tents every night, salt baths, baking soda baths, gargled salt water, honey lemon tea. Can't have the whiskey, or it would have helped a whole lot more, but I can't have that. I upped a lot my vitamin C, and did a lot of honey, garlic, and cinnamon with all that other stuff in it, and just really had to baby myself. And because the muscles that froze were all my torso muscles, which hindered me coughing stuff up. So I had to really work at keeping a croup tent on me, basically, and keeping it out. And I had to have one breathing treatment at the end of it to just get everything out. And then when I came out of flare, I've coughed everything up just fine. When my muscles unfroze, I coughed everything up just fine. And so they're like, well, your lungs look good to have just had COVID. Old remedies work. That's how people stayed alive a long time ago. It's, there's some smart people out there, the doctor was amazed at how clear my lungs were. It's just that I couldn't, because my muscles around and my intercostal muscles around my ribs, basically they were all frozen to where I couldn't get a big enough gusto to get the last of the snot out. And so I had to have one breathing treatment. But it took me 2 weeks to get over it because of the flare hit 3 or 4 days in, and it just tanked me. And I was like, well, crap. So I've had a lot of health issues the last couple of weeks, but I'm starting to pull out of it and feel better. Yesterday was the worst day, and I think it was just the tail end smacking me before it left. I feel much better today, but I've got important stuff to do. And I've got important people to share with you all, and I've got important things to say. And yeah, we're going to craft and laugh and chew the fat and, do all that stuff too. But there's a bigger story going on in this world right now. And I know that most people don't want to hear all of the bigger story, but I want to drop enough of a trail that if you want to figure it out, you can find your way. And so that's my big thing. And I don't care if I lose my channel over it. I'll pop up on Odyssey or Brighteon. I've got Hillbilly Heart channels pegged, earmarked over there already, ready to go. I don't care. I mean, I'm not monetized because I don't think the things I talk about need to be monetized. I think the things I share with you should be shared, should be talked about, and should not have money in the mix. Oh, you have MS? Yeah, so you can, yeah. I wish that there was something that they could give me that would blanket and kind of reduce my roller coaster ride to this. But they just have not done the research, and they don't understand my disorder. So, no, I just sound like I do because I've had the coof. No, I don't. I'm still one of those little, where I had a badge for all them years. And I live in a state that doesn't allow it. I'm still just, I'm not ready to let go of my rules yet. I know that's horrible, but I got to get, so I'm just one of them people. Now, if they ever legalize it, it may very well be something that my neurologist wants to discuss with me, but it's not legal in my state yet for any purpose. So I hear wonderful things about it from people in other states that have my disorder that use it, but I am not in a state where I can use it medically or otherwise. So, if they ever legalize it, my neurologist is like, well, we'll look at it. But right now, I just kind of get through it on my own. And when I have flares, if I have to seek help during flares, I do, but I just get through everything on my own. And a lot of doctors look at me and they just they don't know how I do it. Well, I make goldenrod tincture, and you know, I put up we put up a lot of elderberry and eat a lot of natural stuff. We eat most of our meats from the woods. We do grow our own garden in the summer, and I just try to stay away from over processed, overhandled things that I don't know where it came from or what's in it. And so yeah, it took almost 4 years, but it finally caught me. So, but I'm not opposed to people that use weed medically. I'm not opposed to it. I think that there are great uses for it. I'm just not in a state that allows it, and I'm still, you know, my dad was a preacher, and I grew up on the straight and narrow, and I had a badge for, you know, over a decade, and it's just like I can't break the rules yet. You know, I will in some ways, but you know, I can't break certain rules that, you know, like that yet. I will flex and spit some truth, probably get my butt in trouble, but I will not go out and violate a law. But if they ever open it up medically, my neurologist will look at it and talk about it, because he's watching other groups that are having success. I just don't know. I'm a total type A person. I like to have control of my environment, so I don't think it's going to be something I'm going to want to use. So I think I'm not to be rude. I think I'm just going to have to raw dog this disorder through most of my life. It's just seems to be how I'm allergic to a lot that is man-made. So I tend to deal with myself, you know, through roots and tinctures and poultices, and castor oil is a lovely, lovely, helpful thing for when I flare and my joints and lymph nodes swell up. And I had ran out of castor oil 3 days before I got this, so I had to send David out to the store. I guess everybody thought he needed to use the bathroom or something because he bought a big ball of castor oil. My poor husband. Oh, Lord. But his trapping channel, he has started his scouting, and he'll start trapping here in a couple of weeks. It's Trapper Dave Waters, if you want to follow my husband that traps and tans furs. I put his first video up on my page a couple of days ago just to let you know he's back at it. Trapping season is once again fixing to take over my home. And if you want to watch how hill people live, Appalachia people live, join in. Come sit with us and listen to me. Yeah, there's a lot of the only way that they allow it in my state is if you have a certain types of cancer and you take it. I think it's called Marinol. Is it Marinol? Anyway, that's from way back in my head when I did medical transcription. But they have not legalized in any other way in the state of Tennessee, and it's just like, hello, are we going to move forward and look at the benefits of this plant that you have a patent on, by the way, which is natural? I'm confused. Nobody asked these questions, though. I have a question. I am the kid in the back is like, I have a question. I'm concerned. But, you know, maybe one day they'll catch up. But they put people in the sling when they do this, because even if their state, like people that are on supervision that have cancer that may get a medical marijuana card, federally, if they're on federal probation, that federal officer can still determine if they may or may not take that medication, or can incarcerate them for taking it, even though they may have to go to special needs prison because they're taking it. Blows my mind. And so they go at state level and they're like, it's legal, I can use it. And they might get it for a very valid reason. And the next thing you know, they're in prison. But then you start watching the strata of society, and you see people that it takes them 6 years to get their first arrest, and you know the law knows everything they're up to. Why was it more important to have the low-level offender back and forth? Because you rent a courtroom like a surgical suite. Every presentation, every hand in the court clerk's office that has to do something, you pay for that. You become a wheel, you know, a little chug on the water wheel to keep it turning. And they love little low-level offenders because they make small, stupid decisions, but it brings in lots of better revenue. Because one big decision, you might never make another one because it burns. It hurts. Consequences rarely come lubricated. I used to tell everybody that. But these people that make little mistakes, they'll probably make another little mistake, and they're easy income. Well, in some states, you're allowed, yeah. In some, well, I mean, you can grow your own if you want to take the risk wherever you are. But in some states you're allowed to grow so many plants and harvest so much, and Tennessee is just not getting there. Tennessee is just like, nah, we'll be the caboose on this train. Thank you very much. But I do think that it has a lot of medical, possibly breakthroughs within it. It just, we're all going to have to wrap our head around it and come to an agreement that the government should have a patent on it, and it should be able to be researched and used. So, and I think that probably will eventually happen. But I mean, I used to all the time. I would have people on probation, and I would get thrown a couple of low levels to handle because I had mostly max people. They throw me some easy ones. They weren't easy because they were like the people that got caught with marijuana. Well, they're not likely to give up that habit, which means they're not likely to do paper well, which means they're likely to get violated, which means they're likely to go to prison and come back with even worse habits. And I would be like, these people are more work than my murderers. It's like, just give me the murderers and you take these. But it really is. It is because they're easy, quick money. They made a small mistake. Small mistakes are repetitious normally because they don't hurt. Big mistakes are not because they hurt. So we got somebody that can bring in $600 a year, somebody can bring in maybe $1,200 for their whole life that we're going to have to house for 20 years before we get a return on investment. Let's go with this one. And so I did not like the way that the prison system was kind of like a marketing cattle call program. I didn't like it at all. Yeah, Marinol, yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay, I want to tell, is it Giovanni Vargas? I want to tell Giovanni that bless your sweetheart, your eyes are 20/20. You have perfect vision. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I mean, I might be a little chunky. And it took me a boy at a wilderness boot camp attacking me and 20 years of leg surgeries to get here. I might be a little chunky. But people like you that have perfect vision that go on the internet and point out the obvious, oh my God, you make the world go round. I mean, just tell us now how to resolve this whole e-battery issue and make everything environmental. I mean, since you have such a great wealth of knowledge, the floor is yours. You're so smart. I mean, you see so much. I mean, just bestow your wisdom upon us, please. I get tickled. Y'all, I supervise murderers that threaten to kill me all the time. You think you telling me I'm fat's gonna make me mad? No, I think it's freaking hilarious because I'm trying to have a serious conversation about a serious topic, and you have nothing better to do. Apparently, you ran out of hand lotion and Kleenex and decided to come here and visit me. Okay, if I send you $2.50, will you go to the Dollar General and get you some more? Because that's probably what you're best at and you need to go back to it. I ain't got time for you. I don't have a relationship with you, and I don't value your opinion. So stick it up your honey. Go on. You don't hurt me at all. All I know is that that's somebody stupid enough to spend their time going through the internet trying to look for an easy target. I'm not an easy target. I'm an asshole. Guess what you are? A piece of shit. So that's just kind of how I roll. just kind of how I roll. If you have to point out the obvious in the life, you probably need to do a little bit of extra credit in whatever you're researching. You maybe need to go back to school. You might need to look at special education programs in your area. Call your resources department and see if they have something for you. But I do appreciate that you exercised your eye control and your 20/20 vision. Okay, you don't need an eye exam. You're good. But this is the crap. This is why the United States is behind every educational platform in the world. Because this is what people call entertainment. You see these comments down here? This is what people call entertainment. This is what people call exercising their second or their First Amendment rights. This is what people think that's all about. This is what people think beneficial communication is. Okay, leave it up there, people. Don't remove the comments, mods. Leave it up there. Leave it up there. Let the stupidity shine. Let the stupidity shine. Put a spotlight on it. I do Monjaro updates. Do you know what I'm on Monjaro? Because after half dozen leg surgeries and 24 years of trying to rein in issues with my body after being injured, I had accumulated from the surgeries and steroids so much weight. I said, I can't do this anymore. I've got to get this weight off. And so I chose the safest medication out there, which is Monjaro. It has the least mental health issues. It doesn't affect your brain the way the other does, because the other is actually extracted from Gila monster extract venom. No, thank you. The Gila monster can keep his venom. So I thought, it's, now that we figured out what I have and that surgical intervention is not an option, leave me alone and let me get this weight off. And so I share that with everyone, because a lot of people are scared to try these medications or to talk about them because of stupidity like this that's going on. And it's just like, that's what we need to talk about. Really, that's what we need to talk about. Not that people are trying to improve their health and themselves and communicate with people effectively about important issues. No, I need to go on the internet and tell people that I think they're fat. Not everyone values your opinion. I realize that. That's why I realize that you can come here and say stupid stuff, but I'm going to let your stupidity shine. I like letting stupid people have the platform, because normally they trip off of it and make a little giant ass of themselves. I just love to watch it. It just makes my little heart pitter-patter. So, if they got something else to say, that's fine. But this is why America has an IQ of a retarded emu. Okay? If you ever seen a frustrated emu, they throw their head and bash their head up against things and flog, and stupidest bird I ever seen in my life. I don't know why anybody would want an emu. But I look at our new younger generation and I'm like, there's no help. There's no help. There's not a thought process. You can shake them till they rattle and shake them till they don't rattle, but they still ain't going to comprehend nothing, because there ain't nothing up there really to rattle much. There's just not much to rattle. Let's just say it's a tell truth. But you're going to find stupid people and trolls everywhere, because there's a certain level of society that gets their kicks from that, because they hate themselves so much that they have to go online and hate other people so that they feel like they hate themselves less. And that's why they do it. It's really sad. It's the psychology underneath it all is really sad. But I don't have time for stupidity. I don't have time. Okay, our society is falling apart. And I'm trying to really reach out and find like-minded, good people that have good hearts, that, yes, we want the world to come back together. We want humanity to raise itself up out of the manure. We want bigger minds, better thoughts, better progress for everyone. And I don't know how someone of any age that's old enough to understand how to work a computer and log on to the internet and look up somebody on the internet, I don't know how they would be so vapid. And I call these vapor people, because you can hear the wind whistling through their ears, because there ain't nothing in there to block it. It's just a straight shot. But I'm appalled at how vapid most of that generation is. That this is their comedy, this is their entertainment. Watching the world burn, this is what they choose to do with their time. Don't sound so smart now, do you? No, you don't. But any attention is good attention if you have no attention. And if you hate yourself and you go out there and you spread hate to everybody else, you forget that you hate yourself. We got a lot of people in this world need to do a lot of work on themselves. And, I've got work to do on me. That's why I'm taking this medicine. I'm trying to shed this weight that I gained through all these surgeries. I'm trying to better myself, but I'm not going to hide it from anybody. I know I'm a fat heifer. I've been the one going through the disorder for 20 years. I'm okay with that. I understand I'm wider. Now, I got big old shoulders because I'm a big old burly woman. But if you was to see me in real life, I'm actually not that huge. I'm just stout. I've always been big enough to hitch a plow too. I was raised in Appalachia. I did farm work. Okay. When I was 12, 13, 14, I was shoeing horses. baling hay, working broiler houses, taking care of beef cattle. I didn't have time to sit on the internet and tell stupid things to other people. So, it's just like, look at the emphasis of where our juveniles put their energy, because that will then be their future. Stupid's the future. No common sense, pointing out the obvious, thinking they have some kind of overlord position over me because they have eyeballs and can see what everyone else can see. It's just like, give him a medal. Bless his little heart. Did he tie his shoes? Oh, you got him Velcro. Bless your heart. You're a good parent. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. You know what I'd say to my kids when they do crap like that? Shut your mouth. Because when you try to make someone else look stupid, you only make yourself look like an ignorant imbecile. Because you're just not only stupid, you're running along with hate and stupidity. So they got double the punishment when they were little buttholes like that. But the world is a strange place. Strange place. Oh God, now we got the flamers in here. This is what happens when you finally get to a level in YouTube to where people notice your channel. I mean, it's not enough that I had to supervise murderers for most of my life. Now I have to deal with every juvenile idiot that has a keyboard and a mouse. Or smartphone and no parental supervision. Oh, Lord, it's killing me. But y'all, I'm going to have a really great interview, and I'm not going to tell you, you're going to have an IQ. You're going to have an IQ to do at least high school math to understand it, okay? So if that's not you, don't come back, okay? I just don't come back. But I'm going to do an interview with a very smart, perceptive, amazingly insightful person that needs to be shared. And it's going to come here in a week or two. And it needs to be said. It needs to be, the information needs to be shared. And it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Maybe if we're lucky, when it replays and people come by and maybe the stupid people come by and actually watch a video instead of trying to jump into a live and harass somebody. That you're a gnat on my ass. I'm sorry, you're not harassing me. It's just funny. But maybe people will stop by and watch the video and learn something. And instead of being a bully or trying to harass somebody or feeling the emptiness and the voids, they go online to attack people. Maybe they will start to then form a thought pattern and start putting things together and looking at the world in a different way. And maybe we can slap this stupid generation into, a thinking headspace, instead of just vapid wind tunnel. So I'm just like, man. I mean, if I had acted like most of these stupid people come on my channel, good Lord. Oh, just go ahead and block the flaming dude. He's a freaking idiot. Freaking idiot. Okay, go out to pasture, buddy. I don't have time for you. Just go ahead and block him. Don't have time for you. We'll be blocking a lot of people here in the next couple of weeks because when I start sharing some information doing these interviews, it's going to piss some people off. So we're gonna it's going to be a rough ride the next couple of weeks. But bear with me, y'all. We'll get back to our normal stuff. And for all the people that came in here to be a bully, I like to do crafts. And I think that some of y'all would, benefit from some calming, tactile, time. So if you want to do a craft, probably this weekend I'll be on doing some crafts. And if you can handle Elmer's glue without eating it, you're welcome to come and join it. And, we're going to start doing some Christmas crafts. And we're going to start doing some, enjoyable stuff and having our less heated conversations. But we're also going to prep for the interviews and do some stuff like that. So there will be some serious stuff coming along with my normal lighthearted crafts and, talks. So we've got it's going to be a variation of topics over the next month And I think a lot of y'all will be surprised with what I bring forward. And I hope you enjoy it. And I hope it makes you think. And I hope it makes you go out and research or want to learn something or want to consume some knowledge and research yourself. I don't ask that you believe anything that I ever say. I ask that you don't believe anything anyone ever says and go research everything for yourself. So if you hear something on my channel that you find interesting, go and critique me, please. Go do your homework. Because I don't want you following me blindly either. I don't ever follow anyone blindly. Always question everything and go and check on it. But there's going to be a lot of information coming your way in the next couple of weeks, and put your thinking caps on. It's gonna be difficult, but it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be difficult. So get your thinking caps on. Okay, now I'm going to eat my dinner and rest. And for all you little dingleberries that went through my pasture, please pick up your shit and move along. And I will see y'all probably. Yeah, it does. Housework. I'll see y'all probably at least by Sunday for a craft, as long as I keep on this trajectory with healing and how I'm feeling, and as long as my voice stays with me, we will try to do. Sometimes I get a good laugh out of the comments, so I have to admit. It is entertaining to watch people come on here and say stuff. But anyway, the next couple weeks are going to be rough. The next couple of weeks are going to be, I know, Denise. The next couple of weeks are going to be rough. It's going to be a lot to wrap your head around, but I ask you just stick with me, hear everything, and then you may go sort it out for yourself. And hopefully we'll plant some seeds for some people for, some curiosity to grow, and maybe we'll start educating and spreading some knowledge that needs to be spread. And that's my hope. That's my hope. But we'll do some crafts along the way and get back to the normal stuff too. And, we'll let the little trolls dance through and fall on their butt, and we'll kick them out. It's fine. It is what it is. There's always going to be stupid people in a crowd. Y'all, as long as we don't let the 5% take over the 95%, we're working, okay? So let's just focus on the future, and I'll see you in a couple of days, as long as my voice and my healing stays intact. And I'll do community posts to update you about any change in plans on the interview or the interview status as it gets closer. And keep your eyes out, and also check out that Odyssey channel that I mentioned. And start looking into what we've been talking about, so that you have questions you can ask, or that you can put comments in so I can get you answers if you have questions. And just start thinking. That's all I ask, is just start thinking. Open your mind and start thinking, possibly in a different way, or absorbing different topics and ideas that you wouldn't normally absorb, so that you can broaden your horizons and maybe soak up some of what I'm fixing to bring you, because it's gonna be heavy. So, okay, I look forward to seeing y'all again, except for the trolls. Y'all need to go away. But I look forward to seeing most of y'all again. Don't forget to check in and check the community post often, so that you see updates. And also, I think my husband's going to be doing some trapping and tanning videos over the next 2 weeks. So keep an eye on his channel, and I'll link the links in my community post every time you post something. But, we're backwoods, hardy people. We live the old way. I have a master's in psychology, so I understand the trolls. I understand exactly what they are. They're little lost puppets. But it irritates me, but I find it funny more than anything. And I like to let their comments stay here, so that when people research their names on the internet, they can see the stupidity. So they can see, you're leaving a paper trail of your behavior. So even when you're 45, it's going to be here, because that username and that IPS, that IP address is linked to you. And if you've done anything afoul, it's traceable, it's trackable. You just left a paper trail on your butt with nasty words. So just, keep laying your paper trail, because eventually you'll get brave enough to do something really stupid online, and then you'll be in trouble. And when they research your name, your comments will always be in my comment section for them to follow and find you and your behavior. Thank you. Thank you. You made it so easy on us. We appreciate you. Come back and see me tomorrow. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.